Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Drive Games series, and in this episode we're looking drive past the handler. So what does that mean? That means when my dog is coming down a line and I want it to power past me and carry on. This is an important one because quite often if we've got a straight line and it is a powering straight line, there's no way that we can get our dogs to we can't keep up with our dogs, so we need them to power down and go ahead of us and finish on the end. It could be a straight line finish. That's usually where it comes out. So you've got a straight line finish, you want your dog to get to the end, you're a bit tired from the rest of the course, you're trying to keep up and you just go, finish it for me, And there's nothing worse than the dog goes, oh, but you're not coming. Are you coming? Are you coming? Would you like to? And they slow down. And that's your time gone, or they get refusal because they didn't take the jumps rough. They go, no, if you just finish it, please, if you just finish it. The thing with that is that not all dogs like to power past us. This comes back to that factor where we've done lots of drive to us. So our dog is learning that driving to us is a good thing, but they don't then learn to drive past us. So we need to add this into the mix. It's also why we're teaching them a lot with us standing statically so they drive out. It's all coming into play. So when we want our dog to run past us, we want them to power past us when we tell them to, not when we're doing something like, if I said Swift or here, I would expect it to be at my side. But any other time, if I said picked her up and I said go, I'd expect her to go on or dog walk or whatever. Thing to bear in mind is your arm. What's your arm doing? So our arm is here and then it's going to sweep past us and send our dog on. Look at that, without even, I didn't give her a cue or anything, good girl, but because she knows that my arm means carry on, she did. So how could we start this up with a dog that doesn't like to drive past us? And this is again is a confidence issue. It can be about dogs that have learnt to be with the handle a lot and be on their, at least you say about the dog that used to be on the tip of your finger so you could handle it round. My lovely old boy Merlin, he was, when we first taught him, I tried to run everywhere with him, and bless him, he used to slow his speed down to suit me. If I wasn't quite as fast enough, he'd wait for me, and bless his heart, he did that. But then we did get past that a little bit. Okay, can you sit please? Sit, wait. So how we're going to start this is we're going to put the toy out there, wait. That was a really rubbish throw, Swift. And I'm going to send her, and now you can see that she's got to run past me to get to that toy. Go get her. So that's our starting point. Excellent, good girl. And I'd do that as a lure a couple of times. Make sure the dog knew what it was doing. Sit. Now this time, there's no lure. I'm going to throw it in. But the toy's going to be here, so she can't see that I'm going to throw it in until she's already gone past me. Hopefully, if my timing's good. So, will she still drive past me? Go! Get her. She will because she knows that. But that could be the moment when dogs go, oh, I don't know if I should. When that toy isn't there. So it might be a case that what you have to do is you have to throw the toy in a little bit earlier to give them the idea, so that you throw it in as they're coming towards you. The key with this game, and I would recommend you film yourself on this, or you have someone else's eyes on you, but it's always good to have film footage. You want to see if your dog slows down at the point it comes to you. So does your dog run, slow down to see what you want, and then go on? Because that'll be quite telling. And of course that's losing you time, it's breaking that flow, breaking drive. So that would be quite telling to see if your dog slows down before powering ahead of you. Once we've got them doing this and we know they're doing it confidently and they're not slowing down, then we're going to mix it up and we're going to ask them to drive to us. Swift. Good girl. Now I'm using a cue there. I'm using her name to tell us she's driving to me, and I think that's only fair. Because how else does the dog know? So if I wanted to drive to my side, I would say, here. and tap my leg. And you can see she knows that. If I want to drive past me, I'm going to tell her to carry on. Go! And again, the arm is coming into play. It's not here, it's sending her on. We've got to be fair to our dogs. They've got to understand the difference between our cues. They are not psychic. They cannot guess what's in your head. So you're saying to yourself, well, I was thinking I needed her here and she drove past me. If you haven't told her specifically she needs to be here, she doesn't know. It's the same as I'm trying to guess what you're thinking, at any moment. You can't do it. You have to be fair. You have to be clear to them. Okay, so I know she's going to drive into me when I ask it, and I know she's going to drive past me. If you haven't got a cue to tell her to drive to your side, which then you need to obviously build that up separately to this exercise. But this exercise is mainly concentrating on getting her to drive past you. Okay, now we're going to build up to a second obstacle, making things a little bit harder. Good girl. The second obstacle we've got here is a tunnel. Sit. It obviously could be a jump. Which is harder, tunnel or jump? It's a good question. I would argue the tunnel is the harder obstacle because your dog is blind. Sit. Madam. Sit, please. Good girl. Wait. I would argue that the dog is blind in the tunnel. It can't see where you are. And dogs tend to look for us out of the tunnel. So if we're here and we want the dog to power on, that can be a big factor for our dog to check us and look out. Whereas on a jump, because they can see us the whole time out of their peripheral vision, it's not such a big issue. So I'm using a tunnel here because it's a good test. If your dog isn't so confident on this, change that to a jump. So I'm going to be here. So I'm actually outside the tunnel. So she's actually going to see me, but I am not going to be racing forward because I want her to drive past to that jump. Tunnel, go! Good girl. And she did. She's powered through there. There was no slowing her. She was powering on. Very good girl. Very good girl. So this time I'm going to be further back so that she can't see me as she goes out the tunnel, and I'm relying on her now to be listening to the words, which is go, and to power forward. Sit, please. Again, if I had a jump here, she would be able to see my arm movement. Because I haven't got a jump and she's going in this blind, she is going to have to rely on the fact that, first of all, she's listening to the word. Secondly, she's done this a few times, so she should be good. So I'm going to be here. Tunnel, tunnel, go! Good girl. Now, I'm throwing in my toy. If you found your dog was not running past you, definitely put that toy on the floor. I'm sort of skipping a stage because I know what she's capable of. We have played this game lots and lots, and I can tell you, this was one that certainly caught her out, certainly caught Sparrow out. Now, of course, we've been doing games where we've been standing back. You can't go through, my legs are shut. We'll be standing back and asking them to drive ahead of us. So this is obviously going to help this game enormously. So once we've got them driving, powering through, running past us like this, we're going to add in another obstacle. Good girl, can you sit please? So sit. Good girl, wait. And this time, so she's done this restrained and sent in, but this time I'm going to be here. And I will start to move a little bit, but I'm going to do it slow so that she's got to run past me to that tunnel. Go. Tunnel, tunnel, go. Really crap throw. That is probably at the maximum of my throwing distance. And probably at that point I would need a manners minder or a toy at that. But you can see there was no hesitation from her. She took the tunnel. She was not concerned that I had fallen behind. And this could be a straight line finish where I need her to power ahead, or something like I've just fallen behind, I need her to get on with something. And this is going to be our saving grace. This gets me out of trouble no end when I know I can send you on. So that's how you're going to teach run past the handler. And so the three types of drive is something you're going to play with and mix up. You're going to have your drive away, drive to the handler, or you're going to have a word that means drive to me, either the name check. So if I want her to come in and then do something, it's going to be swift and do something. If I wanted her to run past, jump with me, I'm going to be saying here to get her into my leg. Good girl, yeah, you know that one. And then of course you're going to have the drive past. So as you're building up your drive, these are the 3 games. You're going to mix up these 3 games. You're going to have sequences and you're going to try both. Sorry, try all 3 on that sequence, so that you're perfecting everything, and you will keep a record of where your dog is weakest. Really? You'll keep a record of, you know, which of those do I know she's not so good at, because that's the one you're going to do more of. But of course it's all a balancing act. We want to make sure that they're all good all-rounders, but we will know which ones they're weakest on. Yeah. And I would say with her, it's the drive past was her weakest one for a long time. As you can see, building on that has worked enormously. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video. If you have, you might like to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon.